Well, I think this time around, and like the last time, because the legislature didn't act and do what they probably should have done in terms of reforming of state government, I can't find it in myself to tell people out there that they should not give themselves a pay increase. Personally, because I know the impact that it will have on this community if all three, or question 1 and question 3 passes. Personally, I'll be voting no. But I can't, in good conscience, tell people out there that may be out of work, maybe having a difficult time paying property tax and other taxes that they have to pay, that they shouldn't give themselves a pay increase. Personally, can't do that. All I can say to those out in the community, I know the impact that it will have here, and personally, I'll be voting no on question 1 and 3. But I can't tell people in good conscience to vote the way I'm voting. But the reason why I am voting no on 1 and 3 is because of the impact it will have here in this community. They can make their own judgment as to what they want to do for themselves.
Anyone else want to weigh in?
Yeah, I somewhat agree with Sean. In our position, we see things a little bit differently. You've mentioned that a number of times to me, that we see things that other people don't see. On the other hand, it is very difficult to say to people to make decisions that's going to affect their pocket and give them a raise. It's not something I don't think that we should do. It was done before I was on the board, and I thought that was inappropriate. I think our job is to take what the public gives us, work with it, and do the best we can. I understand it may make it more difficult for us. In some cases, it may put a burden elsewhere in our system, but we have to make it work, because that's our job. So if the public, feels that our taxes should be what they are, then that's what they should be. If they feel that the taxes should be reduced, then that's what they should be. So I think it's for the people to make that decision, not for us to persuade them one way or the other.
I just think the point that we point out that, $1 million cut on top of what we're facing the school department, $1.8 million deficit with the other money going away, and another additional $950,000 worth of cuts that would have to be made. It's not that real estate taxes aren't going to save them a dime. This is money coming in state aid that helps formulate our budgets and help support the services that are delivered here, that's going to go away. And we know that because we're dealing with it week in, week out. We have an obligation to tell them. Not only are we facing a deficit in the school department going forward, because the one-time monies are drying up, close to $1.5 to $2 million, but this
Well, I just want to correct you. It's not $1.5 to $2 million. It's about $750,000 in one-time money. That'll be going away.
And then additional increases of contractual obligations and all the rest that goes along with it.
Right, but I just want to be clear, the one-time money is about $750,000.
They're still facing a significant
I don't disagree.
deficit just in the school department to maintain level services. And then you're looking at another $950,000 in cuts that are going to have to be made with no money to make it up. And it's not going to come through unless it's through an override to maintain level services. So we have an obligation to let people know what the impact is.
Michael?
Well, I'll only comment on question number 3, because I think you really have to step back and look at why that question's even there. I mean, it's clear throughout this Commonwealth, people are hurting. The only reason it's there is because people are fed up, because our state government continues to keep on avoiding doing the difficult things, the reform, making tough decisions like plan design. Okay, they've shown over and over and over examples of things that they just don't want to take on and make the tough decisions. And we should learn from that as a board ourselves. And so I am in agreement with you. It would clearly hurt all the cities and towns throughout the Commonwealth if that passes. I know the people's frustrations at home emotionally. You initially want to say, oh yes, we need to do this. But when you step back and you look at the big picture impact that it's going to have in the Commonwealth, it's really the people that are hurting now will hurt even more. Okay, and that's what we have to make sure we here think about as we go forward and we start to make decisions. And I know, Steve, you and I, we've been very clear that you and I differ on health plan. this whole thing about the healthcare, but I know your heart is clearly in the right place. And mine is too. We may just differ on it, which isn't a bad thing. In this particular item, this is no different too. You're gonna face people throughout town that believe this is really important to their families. But we all have to step up and look at the bigger picture. In this particular item, I definitely believe not only will it hurt North Reading, but it will hurt all the Commonwealth throughout.
I think that there is need for a significant change in our state government. It's too big, too encumbering, there's too many mandates that are unfunded. But if you go back to when Proposition 2.5 was passed, and you look at the concept of limiting the growth in real estate tax or giving people more control over increases in real estate tax, there was an assumption that the state would fund from the sales tax, from the income tax, local aid. And as much as I was very unhappy with the move that was made to increase the sales tax to 6.5% from 5%, and 5.25%, I guess.
From 5 to 6.25.
Yeah, 6.25%. I can't support reducing it to 3%. I think that the impact, under the current conditions, current circumstances, would have impact on this year's fiscal budget in addition to a future fiscal budget. So I certainly would urge people not to support that. On the other two, I think you have to leave that up to individuals. I was very much against the alcohol tax. It's a tax on a tax. I would have supported raising the tax on alcohol before I would have ever supported taxing alcohol that's already taxed. It's like a double tax. It makes no sense. There was I don't know what the restrictions would have been, but they could have as easily, I think, raised the tax on alcohol, unless there's some federal rule or something against it. So I'm in support of rolling that back, actually, in spite of the fact, but I do know it's not a major chunk. It's not the big chunk of money that the other tax does. As far as the